Thanks for stopping by. I'm so happy you're here. Today I am making beef and broccoli from scratch. It's one of my favorite entrees ever. I love Asian food. And back in the early days of going gluten-free, PF Chang's had a gluten-free menu when not many other people did or places did. And so I used to go there and get beef and broccoli all the time. I loved it. But unfortunately, every time I ate at PF Chang's, I got what I started to call the PF Chang pain. I would get a pain in my gut after I ate there, and it would last for like a day or so, and then it'd be gone. But now I'm so thrilled that I can make it myself, and I gotta tell you, it tastes so much better than anything I had at PF Chang's. So let's jump in and get started. So a recipe like this on its face can look kind of confusing. There's three aspects. There's marinating the meat, there's making a sauce, and then there's the stir fry and the things that you need for the stir fry. So when I approach a recipe that has this many steps, I am 100% of the time doing my mise en place, which means everything in its place. I get everything measured into bowls, ready to go, and then I separate out, okay, this is for the stir fry over here, this is for the sauce, and over here is for the marinating meat. So that way I'm never confused and I know exactly if I have all my ingredients and I have them by the stage of which I use them. So as you can see here, I have my stir fry mise en place and my sauce mise en place. I do not have my marinating mise en place because my meat is already marinated. So about 4 hours ago, I got all of the ingredients for the marinade together. The first thing I did was take the flank steak and I trimmed it up. I got rid of the excess fat, a lot of the silver skin. I wanted to have it as little bit of fat as possible because that's just going to be, one, it's going to cook better and it'd be a better mouthfeel. So once I did that, then I cut against the grain into strips, and then I chopped again. Now I did a very small chop. You can do a little bit more of a strip, you can do a square, you can do whatever you want, whatever size bite of meat you want, but make sure every piece is the same size because consistency is going to give you even cooking. So do what you want as long as it's all consistent. And then I added the cornstarch to the gallon bag where I put the meat, moved it around a little bit so it got all nice and coated, added all the other ingredients, sealed up my bag, mushed it all together, which is kind of the fun part, put it in the fridge for 4 hours. And now, about half an hour ago, I pulled out the meat, transferred it to a bowl, took out the garlic and the green onion ends that I had in there, and we are ready to go. So I'm gonna put this to the side over here by the wok, and we are gonna make the sauce. The sauce is very straightforward and easy. It's just, there's quite a few components. And you'll know if you cook a lot of Asian meals, there are tons of ingredients. And that's a great thing because ingredients bring flavor. So I'm super excited about all the ingredients. So I've got some chicken stock, tamari. This is very important. That's going to give it so much flavor. Some sesame oil. Oyster sauce, gluten-free. All this obviously is gluten-free. Gluten-free tamari, gluten-free oyster sauce, which I'll have some links to some brands that I like to use in the description below. Okay, got that. Brown sugar. More cornstarch, because we need that to thicken the sauce once it gets in with all the other ingredients. Okay. Salt, pepper, and a sprinkling of red pepper flakes. I don't like a lot, so I'm not going to use all of those. And really, it's just about whisking it together. And you're going to want the sugar to dissolve in here. This is going to sit while we start our stir fry, so the sugar should dissolve quite nicely, and then we'll give it another whisk before we actually get it into the wok. Before I jump into the stir fry, I've got to make the rice. We're going to serve this over rice, and if I don't start it now, I'm not going to have any rice. I'm using a medium grain white rice, and I made sure to rinse it very well, because if you rinse your rice before you cook it, you're going to have a whole lot less starch, and your rice, since it's skicked, is not going to stick together as much as normally rice does. So I've got that here, and I'm getting it into my pan. I've done 2 cups of rice, so I need 4 cups of liquid. And you're thinking, okay, that doesn't look like water. Well, it is half water. I like to either do beef stock or chicken stock as half of the liquid in rice. And so this is beef stock, which I'm going to add. And then I want to hit it with a little bit of salt. That should be good. And so now I'm going to go put on the stove, bring it to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, turn it on low and let it simmer for 20 minutes. And then we're going to get started on the stir fry. Okay, the stir fry is about to begin. That's my favorite part. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat on my wok and get it heated up. Oops. Okay, there we go. We're gonna pretty much run on high because a wok really is designed to get the flame all the way around it. And as a residential stove, you're not going to get that. You can see I have a frame there to hold the wok because it is a rounded bottom wok. You know, the flame gets up there, but you really need high the whole time. So we're going to let that heat up. And in the recipe, there'll be a link below in the description. I'm going to talk a lot more about the wok, which one you should use, and how to season it and everything. I absolutely love this wok, and I'll tell you which one it is. Okay, whenever I cook at the stove and I have lots of ingredients, I like to set it up. I kind of like my stove mise en place. I have everything set up in the order of which it's going to appear in the wok. Obviously, I've got the meat. The broccoli I cut earlier before we started the recipe as part of that mise en place, pretty much, you know, small flowerets. That's how I like it. And then I've got the ginger that I minced earlier with a microplane. And then the garlic, I minced that with my absolute favorite garlic press, and I'll have a link to that in the description below. 8 cloves of garlic, which is a lot. I always peel them first because I want to get as much garlic out of the clove as I can in the garlic press, so I did that. And then I've got water. That's where we're going to steam the broccoli. And then these two are garnished, and they're absolutely at the end. Okay, so the wok is nice and hot, and I'm going to put a little bit of sunflower oil in here, and we're going to cook the meat first, and we're going to do it in batches so that we don't overcrowd the wok. The goal here is to get a nice brown on the meat. And so I'm just going to let it sit here until it gets a brown, and I'm going to flip it over. We're not trying to cook the meat all the way through because when it goes back into the wok later in the process, it'll finish it up. Another reason to have small, uniform pieces so that everything cooks at the same rate. You don't want some meat cooked and some meat not cooked. The rice is boiling nicely. I'm going to put a lid on it, turn it down all the way to low, and set a timer for 20 minutes. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, we got some really good color. I'm going to mix that up a little, but it's not going to stay in this pan much longer. Nice and brown. Okay, so I have a bowl I'm taking this batch of meat to. I love this tool here. It's like a shovel. Everybody needs a meat shovel, or I guess just a shovel. Okay, I'm just going to put all this in. I think we're going to be fine. Okay, I'm going to let it sit, let it do its thing. Okay, got some good color. I'm going to mix it up, get the other side brown. Shouldn't be too much longer. Oh, the smell. I'm going to call this meat done as well into the bowl. Okay, no stopping now. We're going to add some sesame oil and get the broccoli in the pan and let it cook up for about 30 seconds to a minute. I'm going to add a half a cup of water. I'm going to put on the lid, and then I'm going to let this steam for 2 minutes. So I let the broccoli cook a little bit longer than 2 minutes. It wasn't quite as tender as I wanted, so 2 minutes or until tender to your taste. I think it looks beautiful now. It's got a nice bright green, so now we're going to move on with the stir fry. I'm going to pull the broccoli to the side because I need a surface here to cook the ginger. I'm going to add a little sesame oil. And then I'm going to add the ginger. And the 8 cloves of garlic. And I'm going to push it around. I'm going to move my wok a little bit because I don't feel like I'm getting enough heat here. Just want to cook it around until it's fragrant, which it is quite fragrant, about 30 seconds or so. And of course I got some broccoli in there. Okay, so I'm gonna straighten this out. I'm gonna mix all this together without flipping any broccoli out of the wok. Okay, now meat's going back in. And I'll mix that up a little too. Kind of distribute it nicely. Now it's time to put the sauce in. I'm going to give it a good whisk. Now I'm not going to put it all in just yet because in the past I haven't used all the sauce. I'm going to start, leave a little bit reserved. And now I'm just going to coat everything and flip. Okay, I have decided I am putting the rest of the sauce in here. And I'm going to let it cook 2 or 3 minutes or so the sauce thickens a little more and all the flavors meld together. This is going to be so delicious. It is complete. The rice is in the bottom of the bowl. The beef and broccoli is on top of the rice. I cannot wait to eat this, but first I need the garnish. So I served in a bowl, I plated, so I'm gonna garnish right onto my plate. But if you wanna do like buffet style and serve right out of the wok, then put your green onions and your sesame seeds in the wok and then have people scoop and serve. Oh, this is going to be so good. I cannot wait to try this. Okay. I've got a fair amount of sauce in here because I wanted the rice to soak up the sauce. If you're not going to serve this with rice, I would say cut back on the sauce a little bit because you're not going to be able to use it unless you just want to slurp it up. You could do that too. Okay, this is very hot and hopefully I don't burn myself. Going in. Oh my goodness. That is so delicious. And so much better in P.F. Chang. I don't know why I even like P.F. Chang. Making my own is the best way to go. Now I want to talk about flavor. Now when I take a bite of this, I taste the ginger, the garlic, the tamari, the oyster sauce. I taste everything and they're all very well balanced. You may find some recipes out there, not just Asian recipes, but Italian, other recipes that are using garlic powder or ginger powder or some sort of powdered version of some of these ingredients. Fine to use, going to make a tasty dish, but it's not going to give you a dish that is so bursting with flavor, you, one, can't stop eating it, and two, the people you're serving it to are going to think you're the most amazing thing in the world that you cooked that. So I urge you to use as many fresh ingredients as you can. I know it's a journey and you might not be there yet, but it's a goal, because if this did not have the fresh ginger and the garlic in here, it would not taste nearly as amazing as it is. So I gotta go eat this bowl right now. Not the bowl, but what's in the bowl. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the link to the full recipe below, and in that blog post I'm going to talk more about the wok and which one you should buy and what you have to do to it to get ready, all that stuff. And also go to gfexplorers.com to find all of our recipes. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. That helps a lot. And until next time, happy eating.